I'm going to share my screen. Maybe. Oops. Oops. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
It looks like it's just the slides now, Amy.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
I think we're all set. You set, Amy, with the slides?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. So good morning and welcome to the Erie County Department Mental Health 2026 contact presentation. This session is being recorded. If there are any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer the questions as we go. If not, there will be time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. I'd like to start off with some introductions. So first and foremost, Amy Rockwood is our Director in Planning and Evaluation. Tara Karolewski, Kathleen Larson, and myself, Stacy Sinclair, are the contract coordinators. Melissa Stark is our contract specialist in insurance. And our fiscal team is Dave Spadone, who's the director, Alicia Delecki, who is the assistant director, and Gabriella Miller Bishop, who is our accountant. So our agenda for today is we'll be touching base on some of the things like why are we doing this, changes for 2026, a brief overview of the contract process, common problems and how to avoid them, where to get more information and who to contact if you have any questions, and then we will taking at the end if we don't get to your questions during the presentation at the end of the presentation. So why are we doing this? We are doing this to ensure that to make the process more efficient for you and for us, to reduce the number of times we have to go back and forth, to improve the quality and clarity of our contract documents, to ensure you get paid more quickly. We cannot pay you for any 2026 invoices until the contract is fully executed, to address any questions you may have, and to improve the communication and share expectations.
So what's new in 2026? Well, first thing is these webinars. There were also a few sections that were added or expanded in the 2026 procedure manual for our Erie County Department of Mental Health contract agencies. A section was added regarding limited English proficiency that states that agencies are required to provide patients who are limited English proficient with meaningful access to mental health treatment in their primary language. To ensure compliance that your agency is providing access to patients with limited English proficiency, they need to change this word, proficiency, you will need to complete an attestation that you're in full compliance with the applicable language access laws. This attestation will need to be signed and returned with your initial contract. Additional information has been added to the procedure manual regarding mental hygiene law 945 designees. This new information includes qualifications of designees, how to apply for 945 designee status, functions and responsibilities of designees, responsibilities of organizations employing these designees. If this applies to your organization, please review the procedure manual pages 12 to 18. Another thing that we're moving forward with is the use of temporary payment withholds. If an agency is late in submitting, if you are, if you could mute, that would be great. If an agency is late in submitting their required reports, the agency may be subject to a temporary payment withhold. Reports must be both submitted and approved by ECDMH. Please be responsive and timely if your contract coordinator reaches out for revisions, corrections, or if there are any questions. The goal of this action is to make us all more accountable and also reduce the back and forth and follow-up needed to get the reports approved within the required timeframes. Regarding the scopes of services, we will be discussing this in more detail in just a few slides.
Here's a perfect overview of the contract process. This is the exact order things happen for us. So you by now have received the contract call letter, kickoff email that starts the beginning of the contract season. This was sent out early October. You have also now received the email from your assigned contract coordinator, and you have documents and scopes of service documents to be completed and returned, and scopes of services that also need to be updated for 2026. Third comes an email from fiscal or your contract coordinator with the funding documents, and at all times your insurance needs to be maintained. So in order to kick off the contract process, next steps with our start letter, please be sure your insurance, if it's expired or soon to expire, is on your list of to-dos. Following the start letter comes a finish letter email that will include your fully executed contract, and invoicing is the last step to this contract season. Just want to bring your attention to attachment A that was included with the contract call letter this year. This is a new document. It's extremely important that you use this as a reference point to our website and where you can find necessary information that will help you completing these processes.
As was already stated, you've received your email from your contract coordinator. Some items within that email are the forms that you need to complete and return as part of the contract process. Those forms are going to be the corporate compliance, the ECDMH disaster preparedness contacts and COOP, and the CC contract document submission checklist. This year, we have asked for some more detailed scopes of service, which we will talk about in the next couple of slides. But please take note of the document and the guidance that's provided to you to ensure that your scopes of service are updated as we are requesting. And it's very specific to the services that are actually being performed under the Erie County Department of Mental Health contract. Please make sure when you are submitting your contract to your contract coordinator that you are utilizing the CC contract document submission checklist to ensure that you have everything submitted to us, and this does not delay our review process. When you are submitting your documents, please be sure that they are all in one email. If you have too many scopes of services, it will be okay to split up those into 2 emails, but please make sure that you're using the naming convention that was indicated within our contract coordinator email. The due date for all forms and your scopes of services is November 14th.
Thanks, Tara. A little more detailed information in regards to what we're looking for in our scopes of services. Like Tara said, we are taking extra time this year to really make sure our scopes of services are comprehensive, that they're accurate, detailed, so that when someone picks up that scope of service, which is part of your contract, they really know what the service is that's being provided. For most of our programs, the 2025 information is rolled into the draft 2026 scope of service. So we just want to make sure.
Share your sound with me.
We just want to make sure that those scopes are being reviewed in detail. So a little information on what we're looking for. Kind of those who, what, where questions. What is the service that's to be delivered? how it's being delivered, where, so that could be like the location. Is it in person? Is it remote? Is it at an agency site? Is it at an offsite or a community location? And the why. What is the purpose of the service being delivered? Are there outcomes associated with that? Just to note as well, what we're asking agencies to put or include in that scope of service is the FTEs by type of staff that is being paid for with the dollars in the ECDMH contract. So is it 3.5?
Nope, I can't hear
Case
sound.
management positions? Is it a couple clinician positions? But what we're asking in that note section in that scope of service is to just detail out by type of staff the FTEs that are being provided. What we actually also included with the email that went out from your contract coordinator is this guidance document. I know it's really small, so we're not necessarily going to go over specifically what it says, but just to note that it was included as an attachment with the CC email that went out from your contract coordinator. So that would have been myself, Tara, or Stacy. And what we did was we put together this template just as a guide for everyone to use as they're reviewing their scopes of services. Probably helpful if you took a look at this before working on your scopes of services. That way you're familiar with the types of questions and how to think about those scopes of services as you're reviewing them. But as always, if you have any questions about like what we're looking for in that, refer back to this guidance or obviously contact and reach out to your contract coordinator.
Funding documents. So early December, you should, fiscal and CEO, executive director, should receive an email from myself listing and attaching your program funding source detail and funding authorization summary. So most of you know, but the program funding source detail has the details of your funding with the program code, funding source code, and amounts. And then the funding authorization summary is a summary of all that funding. The funding for 2026 will be very similar to the funding from 2025. There will be some annualizations of COLAs and whatnot, and then any other changes you would have been notified by your contract coordinator about those. And then you will use those documents to complete your budget tab of your cost report in Google. And this is new for this year. We won't be, it won't be due until March 15th of 2026. Again, that's the budget tab of your cost report. Will not be due until March 15th, 2026. And you can complete that beforehand if you have the time, but that's going to be our new official due date just to give people more time with the year-end stuff going on. So that's all for funding documents.
Regarding your insurance, if your insurance has expired, we do not have your insurance renewals approved by our county attorney yet, we cannot pay your invoices. There are no exceptions to this. Approved by our county attorney means that we are in full receipt of all renewals that have expired. And these have been passed on to our county attorney for thorough review and returned to us or myself with a county stamp of approval stating that your renewals met county requirements and have been documented in our system as active. Please have your agency insurance contact calendar all expiration dates. It is the agency's responsibility to submit renewals timely. Please do not wait for a notice or for me to come at you with your deadlines. I do try as a courtesy to do such, but we are very, very busy and we have 6 more agencies this year to handle. So it's going to be tight on my timeline. So that will be up to you. If you aren't sure of what dates to calendar, please feel free to send me an email. I will send you a notice that will have all your expiration dates. You can throw those on the calendar very quickly so that you're in the know. Your agency insurance contact must review the certificates prior to sending to me. You need to help me with this. You need to check your agency name and address are correct. I'm sending you a reference point to look at. Both you and your insurance agents should be using those to get these certificates in order timely. So we are asking you to be responsible on your end as well and review certificates before submitting them. They should be submitted by your insurance contact at your agency, not your insurance agent. And if and when an insurance agent is sending them to me, you should at least be copied so that you're in the know of what's going on. If you have new contacts handling insurance, we can share a PowerPoint presentation we did last year. This will explain anything you need to know insurance. It's really boring, but it's extremely informative. It has a lot of guidelines in it for you. And we'd be happy to share that with any new person to insurance to keep us all on board. And certificates should all be sent to me via email only. My name is Melissa. And each certificate attached should be an individual PDF, not in one 60-page document that I have to go through and check what is relevant for me. We do not need any pages with all your policy listings or how much you pay. We need the insurance certificates, and that is also your responsibility to separate these documents, review them, and send to me what we are required to be reviewing. The start letter email will kick off your actual initial contract. This will contain all your initial contract documents. These are specialized for your agency, so I'm not going to list them in full here, but they will all be listed with detailed instructions for each individual document in your start letter email. And also the same instructions, which are very detailed as well, are on your agency submission checklist. So if whoever's reviewing your contracts to be completed should be following these guidelines. Every document that you send me needs to be printed on a single page, never double-sided. I need original signatures. Please do not ask again this year if you can e-sign. Nothing that I send you can have an electronic signature, and it is always explained in the email. Do not make any changes to our PDF documents. This is a request that we put again in every start letter. If you see something that is wrong or needs to be updated on your contract, perhaps your signatory had just changed that month and you have not identified that with us, you need to request that. Reply all on your start letter email so that we're all in the know, and I will make those adjustments if they are approved. And then I will redistribute the contracts. Our documents need to reflect all actual updates or any changes. So you cannot go into these PDFs and edit or update on your own. We need to be in charge of that. If your contract signatory changes at any time throughout the year, please let us know. There are amendments always happening. Their name and title go on these signature pages. They need to be accurate. Any revisions will require a delay in us getting you the new distribution and a delay to you getting paid ultimately. Initial contract documents must be returned in the order instructed by both the email and the contract submission checklist. Please do not staple. That's also in every email. They can be put together with paper clips and they shall be mailed flat. It is imperative that your contract submission is printed single-sided. I already said that, sorry. And any submission can be hand-delivered to save you guys time and get that ultimately reviewed. Or it has to be received by mail. To my attention, use the address in my signature block, but it's also always spelled out in that start letter email. It is recommended, extremely highly recommended, that you send me a scan in advance of returning your contract documents. It takes me a minimal amount of time. Just put contract review in your subject line or something. And send me that scan real quick so I can piece through and make sure that the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed before you make it official and return those original documents to us, which again, ultimately delays a lot of time in processing. The finished letter email will always include your fully executed initial contract for your records. Fully executed means that your initial contract with all the appendices attached has been reviewed in our online system by the assigned county reviewers and was found to be executed by the agency in proper order. The county executive's office must then approve the contract by signing an ink signature themselves. A contract number is assigned and applied to your initial contract. This is a 3-layer process and it requires time allotted on our side for all these steps to be completed. The estimated time you need to allow for this process to happen is anywhere from 2 days up to several weeks. Especially during the holiday season, there's a lot of vacation times, sick leave, so you have to allow time. Just because you got it in doesn't mean it's going to be turned around right away. We do our best to do so, but there's many people involved in this process. This email will be addressed to your listed contract signatory. If they are not listed to receive contract-related documents, such as your board president, they will need to be forwarded this email internally for their records. Your agency's insurance certificates that have been stamped and approved by legal will be found in your Appendix C of every finished letter email that contains a fully executed contract. That's a great reference point for anybody handling insurance. Please save that for your records. Insurance issues that oh wait, I'm going ahead of myself, aren't I? Yes.
Thank you.
I believe that concludes my section, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Invoicing. One of the favorite things, I'm sure. You can submit your agency invoice for 25% of their annual contract.
We
Rounded-
can't hear you, Gabe.
Is that better?
But yeah,
Good morning. Thank you, Melissa. You can submit your agency invoice for 25% of your annual contract amount, rounded to the nearest whole dollar. No change, please. Via email to the fiscal team that's listed below for your first quarterly advance payment prior to your contract being fully executed. We will hold this invoice until the contract is fully executed, and then we can proceed with reviewing and processing the invoice into our accounting system. And we will receive written notification once it's processed, and it's then submitted to the controller's office for their determination of the payment. It usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks for payment, and we encourage the agencies to be set up with ACH.
Gabe, it's still not great. I don't know. It's kind of in and out, and it's like tunnely, or I don't know. It's hard to describe. I don't know if you have to turn it up or maybe get it closer.
Maybe get
to
a
you.
little closer.
Sure. How's that?
Stay close.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
Don't scream, but speak maybe louder. I know it's maybe a little.
It's unusual. People ask me to talk louder. Quarter 2 advance invoice can be submitted anytime after March 15th, and quarter 3 advance invoice anytime after June 15th, each for 25% of your current contract amount. Amendments to your contract can adjust your invoice amount. So quarter 1 could be different than quarter 2, different than quarter 3, all based on what your current contract amount is at the time I receive your invoice. Quarter 4 advance requires the agency Google Doc Q4 year-to-date forecast tab to be completed and approved prior to processing it. The amount of the advancement will be calculated based on your forecast reimbursable expenses less any payments made to date for the current contract year. Anytime the agency invoice policies are not active, the invoice will be held until this is resolved.
Common problems and how to avoid them. Some of the common problems and how to avoid them is read the emails and instructions thoroughly and carefully. Follow the instructions as they will guide you through the submission process. Use track changes on the scope of service. Please do not format the document in any different way. Some of the things that have happened in the past is agencies have insert page breaks, changing the font, adding pictures, and that takes a lot of time to keep going back and forth with the agency. So please only use track changes and don't change the format of the document. Include your signed checklist with your submission. Submit one email to your contract coordinator with each document attached individually. For ClearPoint reports, as Amy spoke earlier, with the implementation of the possible payment withhold, ClearPoint submissions will be closely monitored. Please ensure you are aware of your due dates. And lastly, communicate with your contract coordinator if you have any questions or concerns.
Insurance issues that we experience. Read the email renewal request very thoroughly. Their instructions are there to help guide you. Forward these emails to your insurance carrier. This will, and please note that to provide clarity in these emails, we may use the following changes to text: bold for like document names, helps to identify those clearly, and red font where something needs to be removed or revised. So please take no offense. That's just to make those issues pop out. Sometimes there's several items that we need, and I hope that provides you clarity. It does on my end when I'm reviewing what you submit. So review your renewals that are sent from your carrier or agent. Please check that your agency name is correct in the insured box. I am placing this on your email, exactly what your agency name and address need to be. It needs to be the same as our contracts listed on your insurance. It can't be, your corporate office. If so, we need some feedback on that as to why in order to get that approved. The certificate holder must always, on every single certificate, be County of Erie. There can be no mention of Erie County Department of Mental Health, Department of Law. None of that will be allowed anymore. It simply needs to be County of Erie, the 95 Franklin address, and no further information. I give you that. It needs to be the same on all certificates. Insurance issues continued. Please refer to your prior year certificates. I send those to you. You also will have them attached as any Appendix C in your fully executed contracts. Pay attention that the X's or Y's inside the insurance table match what you're now submitting for your renewals. They need to be identical in order to meet county requirements. Please note that November through February is the busiest time for renewals, contracts, and amendments, county staff vacations, and holiday time off on our end. I'm sure that you have a list of things that are due during this time on your end. If you have certificates expiring during this time, do not wait for me to send a notice in advance of the expiration. Please just send them. They should be documented on your calendar. You should be requesting them ahead of the expiration date from your insurance carrier, and send it as soon as you possibly can via email only. Delays in receiving your renewals will cause delays in your agency being paid. We want you to get paid. Please do not anticipate follow-ups for revisions that have been requested during this time as well. Return revised certificates in a timely manner. I will not be able to do, multiple email follow-ups to obtain these certificates. If I email them once, that's what we need. And I will have to get the contract coordinator involved if we're still not getting them. Once your certificates appear to be in order and meeting all county requirements, time needs to be allotted on our end again for our county attorney to thoroughly review and approve your certificates. Again, this could be a day to several weeks pending their busy schedule. Issues with the contract process. This is regarding start letter issues, so your initial contract issues. Read these emails and the instructions thoroughly. We can't emphasize that enough. Forward this email to anyone that may be assembling your contract package for its return. And the instructions are detailed in both the body of the email and on the contract submission cover page. Feel free to send me a scan of your contract submission in advance of your putting it in an envelope or returning it to us. I will quickly review and be sure the contract is completed in full before you seal that envelope and put it in the mail. The county does not allow e-signatures on any document that you receive from myself, whether it be initial contract amendment or insurance related. I need original signatures on these documents. They need to be in ink.
How you doing, baby?
Doing good.
Can you please mute?
Yep.
Issues with our notary pages. This has become a big thing. You'll notice this year that I have placed an indicator for the notary stamp. That was huge last year. Contracts being returned without the notary stamp, or people not stamping and writing in not sufficient information, or it not being legible. So you'll notice that these are fillable PDFs except for the date, signature, and notary stamp. They must be stamped legibly by the notary with their commission number and expiration date. And if handwriting, I've given detailed instructions of what needs to be included. That is on every notary page now. The county must be entered in the caption under the state of New York on these, because not all of you are commissioned in the same county. Some are in Niagara County. Whatever the notary's commission is, needs to be identified in the caption. Please do not leave that blank. The notary must circle he or she throughout the signature page, identifying the contract signatory. The name and title of the contract signatory must be typed exactly as it appears on the signature page. You cannot use a nickname or additional information on the notary page. It should be identical to the New York State license of the signatory. Issues with the County of Erie Equal Pay Certificate. This is another certificate that needs to be notarized. The signature must be done by the corporate officer of the agency in front of a notary public. They sign at the very top. The rest of the form is a fillable PDF. Please utilize it, because you will not be able to fill in section A. That's another common mistake. It's always section B for all of you contract agencies. I do not even allow you to fill in section A if you are using the fillable PDF form. If you choose to have everything handwritten, then section B always, and only can be completed under the verification. The date and signature must be written in ink by the notary, and again, stamped with the commission expiration. Notary stamped with the commission expiration, or handwritten with all the necessary information. The stamp and or handwriting needs to be legible. And lastly, issues that we see on the business associate agreement, the agency address. This is again a fillable form just for the specific page, and I also indicate that in the title of this document. You must go in and fill this in. It's the agency address and to whom attention any notice should be addressed to. That has to be completed. That's a huge miss. And original signature and date by the authorized agency representative on the signature page.
Fiscal issues. Please read the emails and instructions thoroughly and carefully. The instructions are also on the Google Docs. It is the very first tab, and that should help. Calendar your agency required report dates that are due. And like Alicia said earlier, we are going to push back the budget. So use the listing that you will be receiving that has a due dates on it. Any questions, ask us. Have at least 1 or 2 employees set up with a work email for the Google Doc reporting. Notify us of any agency fiscal staff changes. Email the invoices to the fiscal team. Full dollar amounts, please, must be used for OMH, OASIS, or OPWDD invoices. Have all insurance policies active to avoid a hold on any invoice. Please do not duplicate invoice numbers. It causes an issue with the controller's office and they cannot pay a duplicate invoice. Controller's office determines the pay date of all invoices once I process them. Send in the paperwork to the controller's office for ACH payments. Dave can set you up if you are not already set up for ACH payments. Dave is your contact person to reach out to receive the paperwork. Communicate with the fiscal team if you have any questions or concerns at all. Thank you.
Okay, that's me. Common problems and how to avoid them. Key takeaways. So it's basically a recap, everyone. Even though everyone paid very close attention to all the previous slides, we still thought this might be helpful. So make sure to read all emails and instructions thoroughly and carefully. Follow the instructions. Calendar all your due dates. This is especially important and very helpful. We've probably stated this several times on it, but it's for good reason. It'll be very helpful, especially with the insurance renewals and when you have to send in reports, whether they're monthly or quarterly. Contact your contract coordinators, contract specialist, or the fiscal team if you have any questions or need assistance. Where to get more information? Our website, which is shown here below, and that's lots of useful information for contract agencies. ECDMH staff, contract coordinator, contract specialist, or fiscal team, pretty much anybody here. Even if you have a question, if you have a favorite contact, even if that's not the person, then we'll be able to set you up with somebody else. Most of the time, if it's contract related and you're sending an email, it's always a good idea. Let's say Kathleen is your contract coordinator. It's always a good idea to maybe copy somebody in fiscal. It wouldn't even hurt to copy Melissa, unless you're absolutely certain that it doesn't have anything to do with insurance at all. It's better to, not that you really want to inundate people, but it's better to have more than one person on it, especially if someone's out of the office or whatever. We could try to help get you an answer in a quicker turnaround. Okay, next slide. So once again, I think we stated this earlier, but who to contact in case you don't know. As far as the contract coordinators, you could always start with Amy because she kind of is the supervisor of that entire staff. And certainly if she can't answer it, she could point you in the right direction. Tara, Kathleen, or Stacy, everyone's emails are included here. Once again, anything contract, document related, or that includes insurances should go to Melissa, and anything related to fiscal, me and my staff can help you. So if you do send something that's fiscal related, please send it to more than one of us, like me and either Alicia and Gabe, or never really hurts to send it to all three of us if you want, and one of us will be sure to get back to you as quickly as possible. Now is everybody's favorite part of all of these webinars. It's the Q&A section at the end. So people tend to be a little shy here, so we encourage you not to be, because if you have a question or something wasn't clear, and we know we had some audio issues, and we'll try to work those out for tomorrow, so we apologize. But now's the time. We still have a few minutes, at least 15 minutes or so. So any questions at all, please either say them or put them in the chat, and somebody is monitoring them, because like I said, if you have a question, chances are someone else has the
We
same
do have a question in the chat, Dave.
Who's gonna?
I
who's
got
doing
it.
those, Leash?
Yeah, Brian asked, will the initial contract be available for review for sponsored project services following the receipt of documents due November 14th and the release of the PFSD and FAS?
No. The initial contract follows those contract coordinator documents. So no, you do not get it for review in advance until the start letter, until all those documents are processed. Right, Alicia? It'll
Yeah, I
follow
think
the,
that's what you're, so following the receipt, so
he's
once you
asking if
send
the
in
initial
all,
contract will be available for review in a,
following the receipt of documents due November 4th and the release. So after you
I'm
send in all
I'm
your doc,
referencing the boilerplate.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get that in the initial start letter. It's not available any sooner than that.
I don't
The
think I
initial-
got the boilerplate in the initial start letter.
You always do. That's the document that gets signed and reviewed by your company or your agency.
So we can resend.
If you're not, are you still listed as a contract document recipient? Because I know things changed a lot for your agency recently.
Well, if they change and I didn't get it,
I'll
I haven't
check
heard.
afterwards, Brian, and I'll
All
get
right,
back to
thank
you,
you.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
no
can send
problem.
you,
So
Brian.
can I just want to also clarify that the boilerplate comes out with the start letter and no one's gotten that far yet in, for the 2026 contracts. The kickoff email went out. If that's what you're talking about, the contract coordinator email went out. And that has all of the information, and the scopes of services will be returned with the other documents to your contract coordinator. And once the contract coordinator has reviewed all of those things, that's when it goes to Melissa and the start letter is generated. And that's where your boilerplate will be.
And that was kind of what my question was referring to, is when does that get released for review?
So that will come is once we receive your scopes of service
Okay.
and your other documents, then we put all of that together and send it to Melissa, and Melissa generates the start letter, which includes the boilerplate. Does that clarify?
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good
Amy, can you
question,
refer
Brian.
to the contract process slide again that shows those steps in order? That might be helpful to you wrap everybody, to get everybody's vision on that right page.
Maybe. You can go to the next question. We'll bring this up.
Okay, do we have, okay, come on, people. Brian, thanks for asking that. Anybody else have a question? Now's the time, so please don't be shy. Otherwise, we're just gonna sit here and everybody awkwardly stare at one another for the next 10 minutes.
So these are the actual steps, one being contract call letter kickoff. So your contract isn't even ready until after the funding documents are sent to you guys, which is the PFST FAS email.
Okay, thanks, Mel. Brian, you good for now? We'll circle back if necessary. Amy, can you take that down? I want to see everybody's faces again. Okay, anyone else? Come on, folks, now's the time. Ask a question.
And if you don't have questions now, you can still reach out to us after.
Yeah, and you can put them in the chat still if you're shy, but
I think this must be just an expression that we did such a good job in
Did
providing
anybody
an
find this
overview.
helpful? Could we get some hands? Okay.
All right.
especially for newer folks, a lot of you KG veterans maybe knew it all, but invariably there's always some agencies with.
We have a
With
couple
questions.
of folks raising their hands. Katrina?
Go ahead, just make sure you're not muted, ask away.
Sorry, I was just raising my hand that this was informative, so thank you for your time today.
All right.
Joe, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I just I had just a quick question about when we're actually completing that like budget form. I don't know and I didn't see it in the documents last year either. I think I provided something that was like part of a state contract. It was just like whatever that normal state form is. But is there like a specific format that we need to have regarding the budget for the actual contract to go with it? Is there like a specific format or I know I had gone kind of back and forth with the state as well when I was doing the COLA adjustment. So I just wasn't sure, is that like a form that's sent with
Hey,
the
guys.
contract documents and all?
Yeah, guys, let me answer this one just because I know it's specific to the program that Joe specifically does. Joe, for you, you have one budget line as it relates to, or just one funding thing. The detail that you send into OMH is more specific, but for the purposes of our actual contract, it's not as specific as that. It'll be your scopes of
Oh, okay,
services.
okay.
It'll be your scopes of
Gotcha.
services. Is someone else trying to say something? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Tara. Sorry, you were
Okay.
gonna finish.
Okay, yep. So Joe, for the purposes of that detail that you have to provide to OMH is not something that we need to submit for your actual ECDMH contract with us. I'm aware of that. We get copied on it, but it's not part of your actual contract. That is with ECDMH. That's just what gets submitted to OMH. We can have further conversation if we need to about that, but hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea.
No, yeah, it does. I think I was a little late to the ball game last year regarding this, so I think there was some confusion there. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep, no problem whatsoever. But if you have further questions, just reach out and we'll get it figured out.
Anyone else? Amy, I do have a couple of general things right at the very end, so I just want to make sure we don't cut off here, but I want to give more time for people. Any other questions? It's nothing long. I just want to mention a couple of things. Come on, anybody else? Thank you, Joe.
Can I just mention one more thing?
Sure, Mel.
That's not been included. Confirmation of receipt when we send the start letter by at least one person from our agency. That's really helpful. And confirmation of receipt when we do request renewals or, giving us an update that you are working on it. That is very, we like to see that you're, you received what was sent and it is on your radar. So.
Lori has a question.
Hi, so did the start letters get sent out already?
Nope.
And so when they get sent out, are they going to be sent to all of our contacts or just one person? So how am I going to know? I'm the in the finance department. How will I know if
Someone in your agency should be forwarding it to you. I mean, if you're not listed to receive contract related documents, then it's up to your agency to, if you're involved in that process, to send it to you. We just did a whole round of updates to add, for them to include anybody that's new or make any changes. And if you weren't included in that round to receive contract documents, then you will not be included in the start letter email. It will be agency responsibility to forward anything that you need to take part in.
okay, just
Or
so I
you can
know
ask to be
that I
added
can
to the
give
list.
reminders to my team to be looking out for these emails. Okay.
Yeah, and that,
Typically-
again, until your agency submits their contract coordinator documents, which aren't due till November 14th, and the contract coordinator has reviewed that everything is good and prepares your contract, you will not be getting an initial contract. All that stuff has to be done first.
Okay, thank you.
Typically at the agencies, the CEO and CFO are on those start letters. So if you wanted to reach out to them and ask if you could be added to receive them so they don't have to forward to you, you can do that. We just need to get notified about that from someone who's already on the list. So CEO level typically, or CFO. Thank you.
And Laura, you guys are new, obviously, so we'll probably have to work some kinks out. I actually might need some additional paperwork for you folks. So I'll probably be in touch soon here. I have to look at what's the source of the funding in that, but of the new half a dozen or so agencies, I may need to circle back with you guys anyways. But if you didn't get it, maybe your list, maybe we need to update the list or whatever, but we certainly want to make sure you have all the information you need. So, if you're not finding success internally getting your information, then just feel free to reach out to me or Melissa or whatever, and we can, share whatever information you think you don't have with you.
Okay, Dave,
Anyone
do you
else?
want to say your piece?
Is that it? No, everybody else good?
Well, say your piece, and if there are additional questions, then
Yeah.
we'll circle back.
Okay, don't put so much pressure on me, all right? I was getting to it. Just kidding. So it's just in general about communication, folks. So we have, as you can see, look at all these lovely faces on here. This is probably only about half of all the contracts. I think we made a reference to it before. We'll probably have close to 50 contracts that we have to do in 2026. So this is a general statement about communication. I just ask that, and I know everyone's busy, and so we want everyone to honor everyone's time. So please, just if we reach out to you, circle back with us. Don't not answer us. Even if you don't have the information ready or whatever it is, please just reply and say, we'll get to it. I'm sorry, I'm behind. Don't make us reach out 2 or 3 or 4 times. And it happens a lot. So it's not just any one. So if somebody's thinking, oh, he's talking to me, I'm probably talking to multiple people. So that's all we ask, is just please don't do that, whether it's insurance related, whether it's even for invoicing. It's a shock to me. Sometimes we have to reach out to people and say, you haven't sent in an invoice yet for third quarter or whatever it is. So we just want to keep the lines of communication open. Things are getting more and more complicated. There's more and more requirements on both sides. We want to help, but the best way to do that is that we all stay in touch. So please just keep the line of communication open. If you're not sure about something, email me, call Amy if you're not sure who to reach out to, and we'll set you guys up. And that's a little bit of a segue to the second thing is, unless you've been living in a cave, everybody knows that there's a lot of changes on the horizon here with funding, whether it's federal funding or what it's going to be. There's still a lot of uncertainty. So it goes back to the thing I said about communication. So please don't assume anything. If you're not sure about what you should do with your funding, don't move dollars over to another program and think it's fine. Please, we will never say, oh, this is a dumb question. Even if we were thinking that, we're not going to say it. Don't do it. Reach out to us beforehand, please, 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 because we don't want to say you shouldn't have done that. And, now we're not going to be able to honor what you did. That's the absolute last thing we want to do. So if you think you're going to be underspent, let us know. Start with your contract coordinator. I mean, I know some people might think underspent, no way, but that was just an example, because we want to our main goal is to keep these dollars in the community, but we can't do that if we find things out after the fact. So please, information is key, communication is key. Reach out to us sooner rather than later, and we will always try to reciprocate and do the same thing on our end. We're not perfect, but we have a lot of moving parts, and as you see, we have a lot of agencies, and now we have more than ever. So information and communication is key to share. So please reach out, and again, start with me, start with Amy if you're not sure, and we'll get you connected with who you need to speak to. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Feel free to attend again tomorrow. I mean, I know this was about as exciting as watching the Bills offense the last couple of weeks, but we hope it was beneficial for everyone. And we'll be talking to everyone soon. Maybe some of you tomorrow, maybe not. But thank you again. And we'll stick around for a couple minutes. If there's anything, throw in the chat or raise your hand. We won't cut this off till at least 11. So Thanks, everyone. If you want to stick around and feel free to raise your hand or just ask away.
I just want to
Thanks
mention that the presentation tomorrow will be the same as the presentation today.
Yes.
So there might be other questions, or if you do have other questions that pop up, if someone else from your agency will be attending, you could share those questions with them to ask when they're with us.
And if
tomorrow.
anyone's not sure on who's on a contact list, I mean, we may have to run it past somebody higher up, but feel free to reach out to us and we can let you know if you're on, it might be as simple as we made a mistake or maybe somebody at your agency forgot to include you. So you could
The
always reach out
CEO
about that.
or CFO, whoever updated their contacts, knows exactly who's on it and they can add at any time. Just let me know.
Okay, we all good? Anybody else? Ask away, raise your hand. If not, thanks again, everybody. We really appreciate taking an hour of your time, and we'll be talking to everybody soon. Happy holidays, if not.
Go Bills.
Fatima did ask if we'll be sharing the PowerPoint after tomorrow. The plan is to post the PowerPoint and the recording on the website that was part of this, which is URL is where all of the contract documents you've received so far point you to. It's got all of the insurance requirements, recordings like this one. The insurance recording, I believe, is there. So that is where you can get most of the information.
If
So
you
we'll be
can't find it-
posting.
Yeah, you can't find anything, just
The
again,
insurance
ask one of
PowerPoint
us
isn't
and
there.
we'll
We
share
can't
it or
share
point you in the right
PowerPoints.
direction. What's that?
We cannot share PowerPoints on our agency reference page.
I can put the
Well, we will email it
PDF
out.
of the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Or even a particular slide or whatever it is, but just ask for any questions about it. So thanks for that, Amy. Okay, thanks, everyone.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a good day.
Oh, I did have a quick question.
Okay.
Who's this, Joe? Okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
this is somewhat unrelated, but I just wanted to tee it up. We got our CFR back from the state, and they had a quick question. They had an issue with the way that we reported something. I was wondering. I'm going to send an email to you, Alicia.
Okay.
I think you actually helped us with this one piece of the question. It was
Okay.
about the agency overhead.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, if we could
And-
see that letter, that helps too. So send a copy of the letter to us. And
Yeah, will do.